Hey everyone, it's Christopher Swan and welcome to this bonus episode of Living Your Journey. During my interviews with our guests, there's often a lot of conversations before and after the official interviews. We usually don't publish these conversations. However, we did release one a while back via SoundCloud, but we didn't release it on any other channel. And I've decided I didn't want anyone not on SoundCloud to miss out. Our past guest and cake decorator, Tina Zettel, joins us on this bonus episode, and she shares 2 stories about when her cakes ended up as cake wrecks. Here's why these stories matter. Well, one of the cakes is Christmas themed, so the timing is perfect. But more importantly, the stories show us that even the most successful people stumble at times. And if you missed Tina's original episode, just look at the first few episodes in our iTunes feed and you'll find her episode. This is a fun and quick conversation. Now, here's the stories of the failed attempts at the Christmas camouflage cake and the owl cake. Okay, so this Christmas camo cake.
Oh my God.
What is this story I keep hearing about?
Okay, so back in 2006.
Okay, 10 years ago.
So, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
10 years ago.
I know.
Holy mac and cheese.
We were barely adults, whatever.
Exactly. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm 29.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So Christmas camo.
Okay, the Christmas camo cake. I had several events that weekend.
Okay.
Like, to me back then, 3 events was like
a big deal.
8 events now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, like, holy moly. So I had actually 4, I think.
Okay.
Or 3 or 4. I don't remember. It was, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We're old. So, yes.
No. So,
Okay.
back to your
So
cake.
what happened was I had a fire truck. Oh, looks so cute. Adorable. Oh my gosh. We had another cake and another cake.
Okay.
So they went out beautiful on time and everything. We had a Christmas party to do. So I said that I would do a cake for the company Christmas party.
Okay.
Everybody was excited. So after a long day of doing all these beautiful cakes that looked amazing, no big deal. Let's just do a little Christmas cake with a little bit of poinsettias on it.
Sure, okay.
And so I made the poinsettias ahead of time and everything else. And it just ended in tears. So we're rushing around, getting everything ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I decide, okay, we're losing track of time. We have to get to the Christmas party. The cake is kind of freshish out of the oven. And back then we didn't realize that we should bake cakes 2 days before.
Oh, let it cool down. So it's like, is that the reason?
Basically, we broke some rules and you're not supposed to break rules.
Okay.
Apparently. So when I make a cake, you do a well of icing on the outside, inside the cake on the outside, and put the filling in. Mm-hmm. That keeps the filling in and it keeps everything level. And then you put the other cake on top and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you call it a day. Mm-hmm. And then you ice your cake. Well, the Christmas camo cake was a little warm still.
Okay.
And so we thought we'd put some chocolate in it. And since we were running out of time, we don't need a well.
Okay.
Okay. So the chocolate started to melt and it was flowing out of the cake like lava. And so I'm trying to repair, and I'm screaming and I'm like jumping around and everything's falling apart and the cake is bleeding chocolate. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And so we rip it apart, we fix it a little bit, we put a well in and we put it on top. Then I decided not to crumb ice the cake. Now crumb icing a cake is you put a layer on the outside to hold it, like to keep the crumbs in. It's like when you think of a painter, you're priming the house. Okay. I didn't do that.
Was that just because of time?
Yes.
Okay.
So I broke several rules that day.
Yeah.
So crumbs were everywhere. So everything just kept on falling apart even more. Then we got the red out to dye the cake. I accidentally, since I was rushing, I accidentally spilled it all over the floor.
So you colored your floor red?
Colored my floor red, and it was all over our feet. And we had piles of it everywhere. Little footy prints were at the
Of red?
Of red.
Oh, gosh.
Everywhere.
It looked like murder.
We were laughing so hard, so I thought, okay, we got to decorate this cake. We got to make it look good. So I got out the airbrusher, and I started doing splotches of green and splotches of red. And then I put a poinsettia in the middle of it, of each splotches.
Did you know even what you were going for at this point with splotches?
I don't know, but
You just thought it was Christmas colors.
ended up being this Christmas camo looking splotches of this and that.
Camouflage?
It looked like camouflage, and poinsettias were sticking out at weird angles. And I was looking at the cake, and I was looking at the floor, and I was looking at me, and I just started to laugh. And at that point, we called Baker's Square, and we ordered 6 pies.
You didn't take the cake.
We did not take the cake. And our place was insanely a mess. Everything.
Sure.
And I took a picture of it.
That's funny. Do you have that picture somewhere?
I think
You should find it and send it to me so we can stick it with this this extra.
Oh my gosh. If I can
I've never
find
seen
it-
this.
Oh, not many people have.
The camo cake.
It really seriously splotch of green, splotch of red.
You know what you should really
flour.
do? Could you just write it up? Maybe we can have a recipe. We'll give it as a bonus. If you too want to make the ugly, famous Christmas camo cake.
That would be amazing. It's one of those cake wrecks. And
Right?
actually, it should have gone on cakerex.com because it was just, and we could do nothing but laugh.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's all we could do because
I'd love to hear that, the cake lady also makes mistakes. Like it was obviously
yes.
big lessons learned. I imagine you let cakes cool down now.
yeah, I think so. I think I let them cool down now.
Any other kind of like cake disasters that you can share or lessons, big lessons that you learned in there that, because here it was what I think is behind the magic. Everybody's like, oh, it's so smooth and it's so great. But you know what? The real story is things happen.
Things do, and you just have to get through them. So I could give you the story about the owl this weekend. That
okay.
was the closest thing. So we were trying some really, really scary architectural designs. We were actually making a tree limb or an actual, a one limb tree. And we were going to hang an owl, a little baby owl on one foot on this precarious tree.
On one foot.
Yes, she's very cute.
And the owls, I think I saw a picture of that too. It's kind of big too. It's not like this dainty little thing, right?
No, it weighs about 20 pounds.
on one branch. Yeah, I see that.
Well, the branch was made of PVC pipe. So we're talking about some strength.
Yeah.
Or so it's supposed to be strong. So what happened was I was gluing the PVC pipe last Wednesday.
And this pipe is just the skeleton of the cake,
Yes,
right? Of
it's
the
the
branch.
skeleton of the branch. And so what happened was when I was gluing the skeleton, there was some idea that maybe it was not the size that we wanted. So I glued most of it. There was one piece that I didn't glue. And since it was pretty late on Wednesday night, we thought, okay, we'll address this in the morning.
Okay.
Well, on Thursday morning at 4 a.m., you're not thinking of one little U-bend, apparently, in that you didn't glue. You just start smacking down Rice Krispie treats and fondant on this pipe, and you're thinking, woohoo, it's looking great.
Yeah.
And then you're making this beautiful design, and you're thinking, wow, it's gorgeous. It looks like a real tree. You're the bomb. You're the best decorator in the world. You're going to win awards.
I love that you're like totally pumped yourself up.
Oh, yeah.
The higher you go.
I was excited. So, and then started making the owl. And that, again, is another huge, beautiful, amazing piece of art. It looks like a real owl or a playful one, if you will. Everything's going fine. you make it out of an amazing cake. Your chocolate to die for cake with white chocolate and coconut filling. So you've got an almond joy, basically, with a bite. And it's so rich and so moist. So moist.
That's your clue.
Maybe. Just maybe. Now, I've worked with chocolate before and carved it. It's one of the best mediums to carve is chocolate. Well, our chocolate's gotten better and better over the years, and it's gotten more moist and more delicious and melt in your mouth and stuff. Well, we put it together, and at 10 o'clock on Friday night, we're putting it on the tree, and I'm working, and all of a sudden the wings start to go in a different direction. I'm thinking, why is the wing doing that? I've been up for 17 hours, and I'm wondering, is this an optical illusion?
I'm just tired. What's happening?
Have someone spiked my water bottle? And then I realized I looked inside the hole of where you core the creature, and there's pictures online. It started to separate. The actual cake just cracked open, and the owl totally disintegrated.
Oh.
And this was actually not a cake for a client. This was for the Luther Burbank Center for the Arts auction to support the children's arts programs. And so what they do is they have cakes from local artists be brought in, they auction them off, and all the money goes towards the scholarships for the arts, which, as you know, I'm very much involved in the arts.
Right. So, as you were trying to design one.
So we rebuilt, long story longer, we rebuilt the owl.
Okay.
We had extra cake, and we made it out of a little bit more stable cake than that, a white cake with chocolate, whatever. The next day, get up, did 6 cakes on top of the owl. And at 1 o'clock, I put the owl, the new owl, Hetty 2, I put her on, she's looking great. Oh, she's looking beautiful. Better than the other one. I'm like, yeah. Put it on there, and then all of a sudden, the trees start to crack.
Oh my gosh. Because the U-bend.
Oh yeah, the U-bend. So that one piece that I had totally forgotten until all of a sudden I had an aha moment.
Oh, sheesh.
Some aha moments are not so aha.
Yeah, not so good.
So we, what happened next was there was nothing we can do.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours before we had to deliver the cake. And she had no tree, and she had no legs yet, and she had no face.
Wow.
So we cracked open the tree to see if we could
salvage it or something.
Salvage it and build it. Not in 2 hours. So we trashed the tree, and one of my partners, he said, build a nest out of the remains of the first owl.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I had trashed that. So we made it out of Rice Krispie treats, and we made a nest for her, and she turned out beautiful. But things happen, and you just have to keep
going.
The idea of this is no matter what, even though it was a charity cake, those are just as important.
Absolutely. Because, right, you want to show up the same way that you always show up, right?
Exactly. And problems are going to happen in this business. And I always call it MacGyvering. I was a big MacGyver fan when I was a kid. And so in this business, I always tell people, cake decorators are MacGyvers. You have to think of ways to do what you've got to do. And you're either buying pies for a Christmas camo cake, or you're actually fixing it and putting the owl in a nest instead of on a tree.
Well, those are good stories to hear, because it's sad about the owl, and it's recent,
she turned out
obviously,
cute.
But that's real. That's what I kind of like about that is we all have disasters in our business or personal or whatever the thing is. But, you got to dust yourself off a little bit, right? Because,
exactly.
As you know, I've experienced that myself in some of the work I'm doing too. You just turn around and, that's okay. I'll pick myself up and go.
Yep.
Well, thanks for sharing some stories. That
No
was fun.
problem, Christopher.
Okay. Hopefully you have no more bad owls.
I hope so too.
Thank you for listening to the show this week. What'd you think? Great story? Any new ideas? If you're new to the show, subscribe to receive a new episode each week automatically. And if you love the show and you want to help us out, go tell a friend about it. Then go write us a quick review on iTunes. Both of these favors really help us get the word out. If you want to follow along with me and see behind the scenes fun and more, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @MeChristopher. That's MECHRISTOPHER. To get even more inspiration and updates, follow Accidental Information on Instagram and Facebook at Accidental Information, and on Twitter at Accidental Info. We also post original articles about following your passions and getting creative, and more information about each episode at accidentalinformation.com. Thanks for joining me this week. Now let's keep chatting online, and then I will talk to you again next week.